think here in New York City, I think it's over 1,200 arrests now.
Right.
Wow.
And you know what's funny is that Occupy Wall Street had said previously they didn't want to be narrowly defined by their tactics. Now all we're seeing are their tactics. We don't understand their message. It isn't necessarily coherent. And all we're seeing is their tactics
That is
of
the biggest
blocking
problem.
kids going to school, et cetera, et cetera.
What is the message? What is the definitive message? Let's bring in radio host, he's conservative columnist as well, Tony Katz. Hey, Tony, if I ask you what is the point of Occupy, what do you think it is?
Oh, good Lord. There is no point to Occupy Wall Street except let's figure out what to do with more bodily fluids today. There quite literally is no point to Occupy Wall Street. Maybe in the beginning you could say they were having a conversation about the relationship between Wall Street and government, and that government is picking winners and losers. That would have been legitimate, but that ended on day 4 when that whole movement got co-opted by the Lisa Fithians of the world and by the communists of the world and by the big government people of the world who wanted to use this as a way of pushing their agenda. There's no point to Occupy Wall Street.
But at least they started a dialogue. Would you agree to that? There is the dialogue of the 99%er versus the 1%.
I don't accept the premise of that conversation either. Newt Gingrich is absolutely right. You can't get a job if you spend your day and night sleeping in a park. If they moved Occupy Wall Street to the front of a Home Depot, they would have more chances to get employment than in Zuccotti Park or any place else across the country.
And that's the part that I do want to ask you about. I mean, the idea, just go get a job, that would be easy in a climate where we are right in percent unemployment. It's not just that easy to just go out and get a job, is it?
Well, it's a twofold conversation. It's never necessarily easy, but it's impossible if you don't look. And secondly, part of this conversation is that we've created, as Newt was alluding to, this fantasy world where kids go to college, everything is paid for, it's an unbelievably beautiful scene, and they expect everything to be handed to them when they leave college because they have professors who teach them that everything should be handed to you. When it's not handed to them, they get upset and they engage in this ridiculous conversation of income inequality. There's no such thing as income inequality. The stockbroker makes more than the school teacher, and the school teacher exists off the excesses of the stockbroker and the capitalist and the people who pay into the system to allow the educator to exist. That's the reality. They're not engaged in reality. They're engaged in fantasy and engaged in violent rhetoric and activities.
I mean, these folks are getting arrested. Do you think that they see it as fantasy and they see this income inequality in this country and they say, look, the system isn't fair. You're paying more in taxes, or I'm paying less in taxes. You're paying more in taxes. There's a disparity that they're seeing, and obviously they're getting arrested for it. Do you think that they think it's complete fantasy?
We can engage in Hayek's tragic view, or we can engage in reality. If you don't go to work, or if you don't try to go to work, or if you don't try and create a company which America allows you to be the entrepreneur you want to be, you have no shot. But if you haven't seen this, John Nolte over at Big Hollywood has put together the rap sheet. It is 302 different incidents that have taken place at Occupy movement events across America, whether it's blood and urine being thrown on food carts when those food carts wouldn't feed the people for free anymore, or stabbings, or how about right there in New York where you had people going after school kids, threatening and bullying school kids. And here's the real conversation. Where is President Obama? Where are the leadership to talk about how this isn't a way to act and treat people in America? The president and the first lady are all about anti-bullying, but they're okay with grown men and women yelling at school children on their way to school? I want someone to ask, and I'll be the first right here. Where is the president? Mr. President, why do you condone these activities? Why do you believe that these people have a message that is worthwhile when they're involved in rape and sexual assault?
Tony, you've made many great points. Nice to see you this morning. Thanks for coming on and being so fired up for us.
Thanks, Tony. It's hard to get that amount of coffee in your system at that hour.
No, but he managed. But I think that was, he made some great points, which is you can like the message as well as you understand the message and the points that the conversation that they've started. But the tactics seem to have changed since they began.
And the broader question, though, there's been arguments that the left has co-opted Occupy Wall Street, but then there's also the criticism you heard from Tony, which is where is the president and Democrats on it? So it seems that